Hello guys. So today we're going to see the new topic on the fourth unit of our work of our course, that is systems modeling. So we are going to see what's the that systems modeling. So it's first we have to understand what is conceptual modeling. In the conceptual modeling, basically the system design has different type of activities that are to be performed and that are to be needed for the system modeling. What is that conceptual system design? It has two main key features, like high level systems requirement, how to plot means how to write and show it diagrammatically, those high level requirements of a system. Then it's how the vision of that operations of those systems are need to be developed and deployed. All these things are need to be measured and mentioned. So all these type of conceptual models are there. Then there is system procurement, that actually means how to proceed with the management and legal documentation part, how to do the activities, what are the two things which decides all these things, what system to buy means how, which system we should procure, and second thing, who should supply that system means what, which company should provide the service, which company should provide the uh, which type of component that are can be connected to show in the project of that whole system. Then what are the professional disciplines that are being involved in such type of system engineering domain, like architecture, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, civil engineering, software engineering, mechanical engineering, ergonomics, user interface design. So all these things are being connected with the systems engineering. So systems engineering is basically multidisciplinary thing, and they have different professionals related to different disciplines. So the interdisciplinary work basically have three type of things involved. First is communication difficulties, means different field persons are really difficult to communicate in the different type of different domains. Why? Each domain have different terminologies, and other person of different field might not know about the that terminology. So terminologies are different in different field. Then that could actually lead in misunderstanding, means it's hard to understand, hard to proceed, what to implement, what not to implement. Then difference in assumptions, various disciplines have different assumptions, what can be done, what cannot be done, and different disciplines have different assumptions related to all these things. Then the professional boundaries are there. So what are the different professional boundaries are there? So each discipline actually have different professional boundaries, means what they can do, means marketing persons can do marketing, sales persons can do sales, then finance person can do finance analysis. So it depends on their professional boundaries and some expertise that they have. Then thereafter some judgment of that system, that whether that system could be better and what is affecting that system and what not affecting that system, that how the marketing can improve the sales, how the sales can help to do better financial analysis for future prediction. So all these things are basically interrelated, means professional boundaries are also interrelated to each other. Then various type of modeling techniques are like state chart modeling, means you can draw a state chart, you can produce a scenario modeling, then you can make simulations, prototyping, then you can do quality functional deployment, functional flow block diagram for operational scenario. We'll see one by one all these things. Some of them we'll see and some of them we'll skip. So there are various type of sequential diagram, activity diagram, use case diagram, state machine diagram, requirement diagram, and one special type of modeling language was being used in the systems engine, that is systems modeling language. Then state chart models, that there is a state and transfer of that state transition takes place. You have a system of that, suppose ATM. So in the ATM you need to swipe the card, ATM card, and wait whether that pin is correct or not correct. If the pin is entered correct, then pin verification was approved and user is identified and authenticated. Then what it do, it can go to the another state. So this is just an example of authentication of a pin of that ATM card. Otherwise, if that is was rejected, then you can ask the user to re-enter the pin. So these type of state models are there. Then scenario modeling. So various type of scenarios could be possible in a simple university database. Then, for example, international student modules are there, feedback of students modules are there. So domestic students could also be possible. Then there are various staffs like research assistants, like some teachers are there obviously, and there are various technical assistant people are there for managing the labs. So these are the staff modules could be there. Then the financial module, that whether that student have filled the fees, what should be the fees of that course, and how the payment of those staff would be done. So various type of things are being related to each other. This is an example of a university. Then next, quality function deployment. In this, you have a simple analysis of various design parameters, that how it react and what are the customer requirements, and how the customer requirement changes with the design parameters. So you compare between the customer requirement versus design parameter in this type of example. Then you make a pyramid at the top and you decide which should be the best and which should not be the best, and take the decision accordingly. And you have various type of perceptions for taking decisions. Next, unified modeling language, UML. We had seen in the previous lecture also that there are some general purpose development of and modeling language could be possible in software engineering, like it's been developed by rational software initially. So what type of diagrams it supports? It supports behavioral diagram, structure diagram, activity diagram, state machine diagram, interaction diagram, then use case diagrams, and these all are coming under behavioral diagrams. Then the interaction diagram basically contains communication diagram, interaction overview diagram, sequence diagram, timing diagram. Then you have structure diagram. So the structure diagram basically consists of class diagram, component diagram, objective diagram, then composite structure diagram, deployment diagram, package diagram, profile diagram. Then you have these are the type of the UML diagram, that you have the structure diagram. For example, component diagrams are there, class diagrams are there, then behavioral diagram having the activity diagram. So in this activity diagram, the purpose of this is to show the activity of various process, that how the data should flow in the various activities of a system. Then use case diagram, what are the interaction between the system and its environment, means what are the actor and what are the requirement and functions that they can perform, and what are the use case that they can perform, actors can perform, is being shown with the help of use case diagram. Then state diagram. So in the state diagram, you have internal or external event management, that what is the input and what is the reaction of that system, and produce some uh, output. So it tells us about the how the system reacts internally and externally. Then the interaction diagram, for example, sequential diagrams are there, that how the various actors of a system and various components works together, that what are the activities, what are the sequence of activities that are being performed by the actor for a particular component. Then you have communication diagram. It actually tells us the flow of some communication, means information. Then next we'll see, so most of the these UML diagram we have already seen in the previous lecture, previous slides. Like we had seen use case diagram, active, we have seen the state diagram, and we have seen some other diagrams as well, like product flow diagram. So all these means a different type of diagrams we had already seen in the previous functional requirement and that designing part and that system requirement engineering part. We had already seen some of the diagrams, so we'll cover only few diagrams out of this. Like we cover component diagram, so it tells you about the interaction of various components, and name of the components are being kept and how they are being interacting with each other. This diagram shows that. Then what are the activities means flow of various activities, how the decision could be taken based upon the output of a particular activity, means particular process or particular event. Then various decisions or various data are being integrated to present some different type of products or some different type of components that could actually work together and produce and merge some of the inputs. So there are various type of things, like m- multiple inputs are coming from multiple components, and the one activity was performing some merger of those inputs, and then a single output will be generated. So single output will be generated based upon multiple inputs. Then particular decisions could be there, whether that has to be taken or not taken, and where if there is this yes or no, true or false, these type of decisions are there. So in this activity diagram, one state starting point is there and one ending point is there. So and between this there are various activity and processes that actually flows from one point to another. Then you have the systems modeling language. It is basically purpose was to model large systems engineering applications. So there are various systems that actually exist in the real world, like electronic washing machine, which has computing components, like electronic and automated ovens, microwave oven. So there are various type of automated car technologies are also coming. So these are basically large systems engineering, and they actually require some different matured type of modeling language, that is systems modeling language. So basic purpose of this is to support some specification, means documentation, and help in the analysis designing phase of the system. Then verification and validation it supports. We'll see verification and validation later. Uh, and then the broader range of the systems and systems of systems. We'll see verification and validation in next video or next part of this module. Then systems ML basically defines some of the extension of the unified modeling language. Means systems modeling language is something advanced form of a unified modeling language. That unified modeling language was strictly for some software centric restricted development, but in the systems modeling language you have a general purpose, mechanical, electrical, civil, and softwares could be connected together and could be shown with the systems ML. Then systems ML basically flexible and easy to be learned and very more expressive as compared to UML. So it actually SysML basically reduces some effort that are required to learn the UML, for which is actually UML is dedicated for software purposes. Then the systems ML basically add two new things. What are the two new diagrams that are being added in systems modeling language? It is a requirements diagram and parametric diagram. So we'll see both the diagrams just next. Then systems ML basically do the comparative small language analysis, and it helps you do the learning and helps you to apply with respect to means some of the software centric construction. So it's system ML is easier to learn as compared to the UML, and SysML is smaller language as compared to UML. Then next, we'll see class diagram of the systems ML. So this is the class diagram that there is various data types are there and various classes are there and they have various data that are being written on there. So this is how you actually show the class diagram in like Java like language or Python like language. So, and you can model these type of electronic advanced programming systems with them. Then various classes are calling to each other. So this can be showed with the arrow. So data types are there, means data structure used in the whole class diagram. Then what are the callings of various classes? So these are the examples. Then sysml use case. So basically use case analysis we had already seen for the unified modeling language. So here the actors could be like photographer, environment, etc. Means there could be any actor possible in this type of scenario, and it is not necessarily related to the computer science that they have to use some computer science activities. They can do anything like taking pictures, taking videos. They can create some studio and then they can store it on the computer and do the artificial some of the things. So these are the basically use case that are not strictly related to softwares. Then the new diagram which has been came up in the systems ML is requirements diagram. It actually tells you about various kinds of requirement. For example, in this case, customer requirements are being of three different systems requirement. So what are the different systems requirement? They had explained image processing software could be there, sensors could be there, like format of sensors could be there. Then in the specifically in a particular systems requirement, what are the process images, image processing processors are required. Then for the systems requirement of sensors, some shutter of the sensors could be used. So all these type of requirement could be mentioned inside this requirements diagram. Then in the parametric diagram, which is also new to the system, new added by the systems modeling language. So there are various parameters like Joule's law have use of current and voltage as the parameter. Then output and the information was like power was being generated. So that various current and what are the various voltages. So according to that, what was the particular power of that voltage and current was being generated. So this would be generated as output. So input output parameters are being mentioned in this parameter diagram. Then again the sensor and of the shutter could have various distance for the focusing duration. So it's what was the speed and what was the uh, various information that what is the focal length, what is the a different type of information that has been generated in the systems ML. So this is the new kind of information and diagram which was being generated in the systems modeling language. In the next class and the next part, we'll see systems architecture. I hope that you have enjoyed the systems modeling and you learn something new about the systems modeling. Thanks, all of you. We'll see in the next class systems architecture. So